this video, we will see new feature in CloudStack 4.18 for UI, that is Visual Resource Matrix. Let's log in. This feature allows visualizing resource matrix for different resources such as virtual machines, that is instances, their volumes, and also system VMs. So let's go into one of the virtual machine which I have already deployed. We go into its detail. We get a new tab here called matrix. When we go inside it, we are shown different metrics for this virtual machine being visualized in terms of graphs for CPU, memory, disk, and network. For disk, it also shows IOPS and read write. It shows these data and it can be helpful for troubleshooting or analyzing the performance of a resource. It also allows filtering the matrix based on time period, like right now it is showing for last 1 hour. I can select for 6 hours, which would allow it showing for more time. Similarly 12 hours, although this virtual machine was deployed at a particular time which is under 6 hours, so there won't be a difference, but it can also show custom filtering based on the amount of data that is retained for these stats. I can filter based on a custom time frame. For graphs where we have multiple statistics showing, we can also filter them, like right now it only shows memory allocated. If I click on this and try to cross this, it will show memory used. Similarly, when there is a difference in terms of these stats, it shows graph appropriately. For disk read write and network, we can also convert graph based on size, that is kilobyte, megabyte, and gigabyte. So if we try to see it like this, it will be a smaller graph, and if I go into kilobytes, it will show differently. This is for a particular instance. If same has been added for their volumes, so if I go into volumes and volume details, I get similar matrix tab here as well. If I go inside it, I see again stats for this particular volume, which are IOPS and read write. Now if I go look into system VMs as well, I can see same functionality there as well. If I go into infrastructure section in system VMs, again we have this matrix tab here, same options, it shows all the data that is relevant. Network stats are not shown here because they can vary depending upon the physical network. So similarly virtual router as well, I can see it has same matrix tab with same filtering options. So this makes it quite easier to see and retrieve the stats for a particular resource. It also, like for memory, I can also look into free and used memory, also in terms of percentage. Like right now it is only at around 50%. Same was available for normal instance as well, that is user instance. So it brings a lot of consistency in showing these stats and makes it easier for users to analyze their resources visually. That's all from the visualization part. Now for configuring these stats or visualization, there have been new APIs like list virtual machine usage history, list system VM usage history, and list volumes usage history, which can provide data for the particular resource which is being visualized here. Also, in the global setting, there are few new configurations that can be altered to properly show stats based on user or admin preference. So let's look into those. Let's try to search for stats. Okay, so firstly, we can see there are a bunch of global settings that control disk stats. So right now I have set it to 60, so every 1 minute disk stats will be retrieved from hypervisor and they will be shown uh, stored in the database and can be seen by the user in the UI. Then we have this VM disk stats max retention time. So this is the time period for which a particular stat entry retrieved from hypervisor is stored in database. Right now it is 720 minutes or 12 hours. So it allows storing stats for last 12 hours. Disk stats or volume stats can be their retention can be enabled or disabled with this particular global setting. These related to network stats are is from already present. So let's look into the other configurations which are related to retention. So here we have VM stats interval in milliseconds. So again, every 1 minute, these are retrieved from VM stats will be retrieved from hypervisor or agent in case of KVM hypervisor. Again, VM stats max retention time it is set to 720, again 12 hours. So for a particular VM, last 12 hours of stats will be stored. Then we have VM stats user VM only. This is to allow retrieving or storing uh, user system VM stats. So if it is set to true, then only user instances stats will be stored. Otherwise, it will also store system VMs stats. So right now we have set it to false, which allows us seeing stats for system VMs and VRs. So let's go back to our instance. We can see all the stats here. I hope this makes easier for users to visualize the performance of their instances, volumes, and admins for their VMs, system VMs. So that's it from this feature. Thank you.